Hello, this is Goomzilla, and I'll be showing you how to make a Yoshi plush from scratch. Before we begin, I should note that this tutorial is far more challenging than any which I've made so far, so if you're not very experienced with sewing, you might want to watch my Star or Whacker tutorial, or any of the others. If you think you're ready for Yoshi, then keep watching. The colours of felt or fabric that you'll need are black, white, red, yellow, and orange. Then the last two colours are for the skin and boots. These depend on the colour of Yoshi that you want to make. This table shows the main official combinations of Yoshi colours. I already have a green Yoshi, my normal one, and I made a yellow one as a test. So this time I'll be making a light blue Yoshi with purple boots. You can go for any colour you like, or even make your own combination. You'll also be needing black and white and red thread, and some thread a similar colour to your Yoshi colours. Then also scissors, a needle, some pins and stuffing. I don't always use pins, but they will really help for this. The last thing you'll need is the Yoshi template. You can find this by following the link in the description. If you don't have a printer, then you might not be able to make the Yoshi, because this template is very hard to reconstruct. What you'll want to do is cut out each shape from paper, and then from the corresponding colour of fabric, also making sure you have the right number of each piece. Use pins to help you cut out the right shape. Don't cut along dotted lines, and ignore the X marks for now. The tail is just a suggested size. If you wanted, you could make this really long and it wouldn't actually affect the rest of the sewing. But it wouldn't look very Yoshi-like. The arms and frill are also yours to customize if you wish. In general, try to transfer every detail from the paper cutout onto the fabric. The pupils, eyes and head frill need to be neat, so make a few and scrap the bad ones. You don't have to be exact for the others, but it helps, so if your design doesn't follow the template well, you might want to redo it. The small white dots are optional eye features. I didn't bother with these last time, but you can choose what you'd like. Now arrange all your pieces like this, to check you've got them all. It's time to sew these all together.
Woohoo!
Take the two face pieces and connect them along this edge with a blanket stitch. For all the sewing, use your judgment to take whichever colour of thread you feel is best. Then place the white eyes on top. Try to make the eyes look happy, putting them closer together than I do here. They will be followed by the black pupils. I recommend making your stitches really close together for this, so the outline of the pupils doesn't get misshapen. Next you need the two sets of nose pieces. Take one of each and sew the curved edge to the bumpy edge like this. Do a mirror image of this for the other one. Then sew the two together along the long straight edge. Next take the cheek and sew up this gap. For the other cheek, make sure you do this on the opposite side. Then sew the cheeks together along this short edge, on the same side as before. Now line up the lower corner of the face with the point at the top of the cheek and sew along just this edge. Do the same on the other side and you'll get a ring inside which the nose will go. To make sure the nose is lined up correctly, attach it with a couple of loops of thread at the top and the bottom, before going over this whole circle. Next, take the back of the head and the frill. Sew along the back of the head from the bottom until you get to the position of the X from the template. This is when you add in the frill on the back of Yoshi's neck. Put it facing inwards like this and carry on your blanket stitches as normal, but with the orange included too. This can be tricky because the frill is curved, but as long as you straighten out the bit that you're currently going over, it will be fine. Now to attach the front of the head to the back of the head. Tie them together at a few different places, say the corners of the cheeks, and maybe also the top of the head. Then work from the bottom all the way around. You shouldn't turn your head the right way out yet. I'm just doing it so you can see what it will look like.
Yahoo!
Next, for the body parts. Take 2 arm pieces and sew around them, leaving just the armhole open. Now you need to turn these the right way out, but this is quite tight, so I recommend using a pencil end. For the back, sew up this tiny edge here above the armhole. Then place one arm into a hole, and sew around the outside, making sure you're sewing on the bad side. Remember to do a mirror image for the other side. Then sew the 2 back pieces together at the top. Now take the saddle and sew up its dart. Use the saddle as a rough guide so you know where to start sewing when you finish tying the back pieces together. Hold this position carefully, and then sew down from there to the tail tip, and back around a little. But don't go too far because you need the white front to line up with the leg holes. When you get to the tip of the white, sew along one of the edges until you get to the leg hole. Do the same on the other side. Next, take the saddle and the saddle liner. Sew up the saddle liner to make a ring. Then attach it onto the back. Along with the saddle. You may wish to attach them at both the top and the bottom, just like we did with the nose, because I just used one stitch and found this quite tricky. Then sew all around, keeping the liner sandwiched between the red saddle and the back. Now we'll put the body and head together. Attach the Yoshi's front to the head in the middle as shown. Then go along the whole edge from one corner to the other. Attach the back to the head at the corners, and also the middle if you like, though I haven't done this here. Then proceed to fill in the line around here. Now you can stuff the arms. You might need a pencil to get the stuffing right in. Also stuff the head, getting the stuffing right into the nose and cheeks.
Ho ho ho, yay!
We're going to come back to the body, but first we'll focus on the feet. Pair up the shoes and sew up each pair first at the back, then along the front. Attach the sole at the front and back before going over the whole thing. Now take one of the leg trunks and sew it together at the bottom. Then attach it to the boot at the back and go all the way around. Sew on the boot liner in a ring. Then turn it the other way out and attach it to the boot with ladder stitches along the bottom edge. I forgot to do this with the first leg until later, which is why the next few clips don't show the liner on it. I recommend doing it now, but it doesn't matter too much. Also sew up the back of the leg. Do all this to the other leg, but such that the legs are mirrored.
Wee-hoo!
Now return to the body and sew up one side from just above the leg hole to the head. I've used blanket stitches on the inside, but I recommend using ladder stitches on the outside, because when you do ladder stitches on the other side, your Yoshi will be symmetrical. Line up the legs so you can see clearly which leg goes on which side. Take the leg which goes on the same side as you just sewed up, and attach it at the front and back. then go around fully. If it's awkward to sew on the inside, then you can use ladder stitches on the outside. Now you can stuff this leg. For the other side, first fix the point above the leg hole. Then attach the leg at front and back. You can do blanket stitches for half of it. I chose the front because it's more visible. But you'll have to settle for ladder stitches on the other half because it's not easy to get inside the Yoshi. Stuff the leg as you go along. Now all that's left is this final seam, so do it up with ladder stitches and stuff the body at the same time. Remember to give it plenty of stuffing. And there you go, that's how to make a Yoshi plush. I like my light blue one more than I like the yellow one, mostly because its eyes are closer together so it looks less confused, and its nose is less duck-like because I changed the nose template. However, I could have put them closer together and it might have looked better still. Its legs aren't as stretched out because of the change I made in this tutorial, which I've now also made to the template so your Yoshi won't have stretched legs. However, I'm not very happy with the lack of symmetry on the body because of my ladder stitch opposite a blanket stitch, which is why I suggest doing ladder stitches on both sides. I hope you enjoyed this and were able to make a good Yoshi. As always, you can leave a video response showing your Yoshi if you like. See you!
Yahoo!
Sew along the back of the head from the bottom until you get to the position of the X from the template. This is when you add in the frill on the back of Yoshi's neck. Put it facing inwards. Put it facing inwards. Next you need the two sets of nose pieces. Then sew the two together along the long straight edge. The long straight edge. The long straight edge. The long straight edge.